An investigation's underway in Japan into why more than 600 children suffered from convulsions and vomiting after watching a television cartoon program. It's thought that bright flashing lights in the cartoon, Pocket Monsters, were to blame.
Entertainment has always been an escape for people trying to forget about the unpleasant aspects of life. Whether it's movies, TV shows, or literature, it takes us away from our reality to one that's more imaginative, exciting, and even magical. Nowadays, people tend to lean towards manga and anime for their escape, with stories of ninjas using elemental powers or pirates trying to find a lost treasure. It's very easy to get lost in the moment and enjoy every single second of it. But sometimes worlds collide and the ugliness of reality mixes with that of fantasy. So today, we're here to talk about those moments when a simple anime or manga gets too real. Whether on screen or behind the scenes, to racist remarks to real-life murders. But before we get into that, if you guys like this kind of content and want a part 2, then why not support the channel by hitting that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get on with the darkest controversies from anime and manga. In 2005, Manga Kenkanryu, a Japanese manga written by Sharon Yamano, was released with the intention of hating on Koreans. Kenkanryu translates to hating the Korean wave, or hating the Korean boom. The story follows a Japanese high schooler who learns about a scandal responsible for the winning streak of the Korean soccer team during the 2002 FIFA World Cup. In college, the main character starts a school group devoted to the study of historical disputes between Japan and Korea, trying to show the ugly side of Koreans. The group would participate in debates with pro-Korean support groups and even groups of Korean students trying to humiliate them. The Japanese characters were usually drawn in simple cartoony designs with Caucasian features, while Koreans were drawn with exaggerated and grotesque Asian features and stereotypes. The manga was written in response to the Korean wave happening in Japan. The Korean wave was a cultural phenomenon in which the world became oddly fascinated with South Korean culture like K-pop and K-dramas. The story would usually cover topics like alleged Korean plagiarism of Japanese culture, Japanese colonization of Korea, and again, even the real-life alleged 2002 FIFA World Cup scandal. News of the series would break the media in not only Japan but all over the globe. Even a Korean artist responded with their own Manga Kenkanryu but directly towards Japanese hate. However, Kenkanryu was very popular. So popular to the point where almost 50% of readers actually agreed with the author. In August of 2005, over 300,000 copies were sold, and then a year later in 2006, over 650,000 copies were sold, and even a sequel. The series would end 10 years later in 2015 with over 10 volumes. The fact that an obviously racist and hateful series like Kenkanryu can even get published and sold in stores just honestly disgusts me. But what truly frightens me is the fact that a ton of people actually agree with these views. The world is filled with hate and wars happening all the time, but to start beef with an entire culture because you think that they copied your culture is both just silly and pathetic. However, a series like this wouldn't slide nowadays and would definitely not have the same number of supporters that Manga Kenkanryu had. Pokemon is a beloved series that I hold dear to my heart. I grew up playing Pokemon Soul Silver and Platinum, I collected a ton of plushies, and of course, I watched the original 90s anime. So obviously, I was a pretty massive Pokemon fanboy, and so it really pains me to say this, but the Pokemon franchise is no stranger to some questionable controversies. From banned episodes like Beauty and the Beach, where James gets inflatable boobs, to racial profiling with the Pokemon Jinx. The past 27 years were not all sunshine and rainbows for this beloved series, and nothing perfectly resembles that more than the Electric Soldier Porygon episode. On December 16, 1997, the Electric Soldier Porygon aired in Japan and broadcasted over 37 TV stations, with over 4.6 million people watching. In this episode, Ash, Brock, and Misty have met with Professor Akihabara because Team Rocket is stealing trainers' Pokemons from inside the Pokeball transfer device. So, with the help of the Professor's Porygon, the gang has to go into the cyber system and stop Team Rocket. Now, 20 minutes into the episode, Pikachu stops a missile attack with his Thunderbolt move, causing bright red and blue strobe lights to flash on screen. At this point, some viewers began to experience headaches and dizziness, while some suffered serious damage like seizures and blindness. Japan's fire department reported that over 685 viewers were hospitalized, with more than 150 viewers staying at the hospital while the rest recovered during the ambulance trip. Later, studies will show that over 12,000 children suffered from mild symptoms. TV Tokyo issued an apology to the public and said that they were going to investigate the cause of the seizures. This resulted in the episode being banned from almost every country, removed from every video retail store, and caused the Pokemon anime to go on a 4-month hiatus. The incident was mocked and parodied all over the world, with The Simpsons making an episode about it called 30 Minutes Over Tokyo, where Bart watches an anime that causes him and the rest of the Simpsons to have seizures. South Park later did a Pokemon episode where Kenny played one of their Pokemon games and then suffers a seizure. Even the official Pokemon Twitter account referenced the episode by saying that Porygon did nothing wrong. Now, hearing about this incident and the Lavender Town creepypasta made me want to start distancing myself from the series. But I would admit, it was incidents like this that would launchpad me into topics like horror and creepypastas. Now, thankfully, no deaths were reported and everyone who had experienced the event is doing fine. But seeing a mass report of seizures and injuries from just a simple Pokemon episode was nothing more than horrific. Oshi No Ko is a Japanese manga and anime about a doctor getting reincarnated as his favorite idol's child. The idol, Ai, gets murdered by a deranged fan that the biological father hired. Now it's time for the doctor, Aqua, to find his biological father by joining the entertainment industry. Now, just from that, I know it sounds really weird, and it is. It's a lot of weird and what the fuck moments when you first start watching, but later on in the series, it starts getting really good. And many agreed with me because the manga was a massive success that led to an even more popular anime adaptation. The series is known to deal with very heavy subjects and covers what real idols, actors, YouTubers, and just many celebrities deal with on a daily. According to the mangaka Asa Akasaka, many of the stories shared in the manga are based on real-life experiences from entertainers that he knows, and one of those issues was around cyberbullying. The 6th episode of the anime depicts the character, Akane, becoming a target of cyberbullying and attempts to commit suicide after starring in a controversial reality show episode. Now, I believe that the way that they handled the subject was well delivered and done perfectly. It's okay to speak up and talk about your struggles with friends and families, and I think the series did a pretty good job emphasizing on that. However, many critics online noted the parallels between Akane's experience and the real-life suicide of Hana Kimura, a Japanese pro wrestler from Stardom. Hana was suffering from cyberbullying, with her posting self-harming images on Twitter and Instagram, while sharing the hate comments that she would get on a daily basis. She was reported dead at the age of 22 by suicide. Now, neither the mangaka nor the anime production team have commented on the similarities, but viewers have mentioned that the manga chapters that the episode was based on were planned way before Hana's passing, even though the chapters came out months after. Hana's mother criticized the series, saying that she did not approve of the case being used like free source material, and that she felt that the topic was portrayed with no consideration for real-life cyberbullying victims. The series added an adversary message at the end of the episode, providing the phone number to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. In a series about the best and the worst of the entertainment business, subjects like suicide and cyberbullying are really sensitive topics that are explored. Now, I love both Oshi No Ko and the work that Hana Kimura did, so I was very shocked to hear not only of her sudden passing, but also that the series that I love reading could have been inspired by a true tragedy. However, handling such a delicate issue always comes with the empathy for real-life situations within the realm of entertainment. Nobuhiro Watsuki is a Japanese manga artist who's best known for Gun Blaze West, Buso Renkin, and probably his biggest project to date, Ruin Kenshin. The series would accumulate over 72 million copies sold and have a huge impact on the manga that we read to this day. From the Demon Slayer protagonist Tanjiro's design being inspired by Kenshin, to even mentoring legendary mangakas of today like Take and Oda. His influence in the world of anime/manga is immense, but in one day, with one disgusting act, his entire image would be tarnished. In November of 2017, police discovered DVDs with footage of the underage girls in Watsuki's Tokyo office. Tokyo police raided his home and uncovered over 100 CP DVDs. On November 21st, Watsuki was charged with possession of CP and in February of 2018 was fined over 200,000 yen, or about $1,500. Rurouni Kenshin would go on a hiatus and then continue the serialization in June of 2018. Now, me and the rest of the anime community was enraged when the case details became public knowledge. Now, the main focus was the lack of punishment for the 47-year-old mangaka, with a negligible fine and no jail time served. And then the fact that after half a year, he just continued promoting and publishing his work like nothing has ever happened. Even recently, the drama came back when Rurouni Kenshin got an anime reboot in 2013. And it had fans ask if they should even support the anime even though it was made by a very horrible person. I even brought it up in one of my videos a couple months ago when a YouTuber was sentenced to 2 years in prison and a $1 million fine for just recording gameplay footage and posting it on YouTube. But I've always said if you want to support the series or not, it's completely up to you. But it doesn't change the fact that Watsuki still committed this really disgusting crime. Death Note has become one of the most recognizable anime series of all time. Not only is it a near masterpiece, but it's been a huge influence on our youth culture. With a massive following, it has both its pros and cons. Even though it's a work of fiction, many have tried to recreate the magic of the Death Note. Many schools all over the world have tried banning the series to protect the physical and mental health of students. Most of the bans were caused by student imitations, with over 8 students being suspended or even arrested for putting people's names on journals labeled Death Note. But while those incidents never really caused any harm, there was one incident that involved a serial killer who was influenced by this series. On Friday, September 28th in 2007, parts of a mutilated corpse were found in Dunnen Park, Belgium, by 2 pedestrians who noticed a foul stench in the area. A torso and 2 thighs were found at the scene with 2 notes referring to the anime Death Note. The notes were found with a sentence in different colors and a mistranslation of "I am Kira." The detectives at the scene couldn't identify the victim but only knew that the body was over a day or 2 old, a Caucasian between the ages of 20 and 30 years old, and that the body parts found were shaved, pointing to a psychopathic act. A public announcement was made asking for any witnesses, but only one witness came up and stated that a blonde man was lying down at the same spot where the victim was found 2 days later. A month after the murder, the police had made no progress on the case, but feared that they were facing a serial killer with the given name, the Manga Murderer. By September of 2010, 4 suspects were arrested. It turned out that the victim was a missing person living with several of the suspects at the time of their disappearance. A spokesman for the police stated that the suspects left their notes near the body because they were big fans of the series. The victim was later revealed to be Sidi Larbi Izubiri. The suspects had met him and killed him on the night of the 11th and 12th of September of 2007. In June of 2013, 2 of the 4 suspects were convicted and given a 20-year prison sentence. A 3rd suspect was later convicted and sentenced to 23 years in prison. And a 4th suspect was on the run but was then arrested on May 15, 2016 and then was sentenced to 23 years in prison. The cruel act was solved in the end, but with the influence of this manga being so huge, what's stopping another deranged fan from starting their own Death Note? In the realm of anime and manga, we forget the potential consequences when fiction blurs into reality. It's the creators and the consumers' responsibility to leave those narratives in the world of fantasy and not have another manga murderer on the loose. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and again, if you want to see more, then why not support the channel by clicking on that subscribe button. But I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.